Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon. My name is Leah Warren, and this is your news at 2:30. Among Trump's threat to tariff foreign-made films, Premier David Eby told people in the film industry not to panic. The Republican president said Sunday that he will slap 100% tariffs on any and all movies coming into the U.S. that are produced overseas. Despite the threat, Eby said that the tariffs face profound implementation challenges. The premier also said Trump's proposal could leave Americans with two versions of Netflix, one showing a limited number of American-only films and a more costly version that shows viewers everything from around the world. BC has emerged as a top destination for film and TV production, but the industry also faces growing competition from California and other jurisdictions. How BC's film industry will be impacted by the potential tariffs is yet to be seen. Despite the uncertainty of the industry, a local Vancouver film festival continues on and could be a beacon of hope among Trump's tariff war. Our reporter Caroline Doyle explains how local filmmaking could be the calm in the storm.
Run and Gun is a short film festival that takes place in May every year. Thousands of participants apply, but only 150 are selected to write, shoot, and edit a film over one weekend. Joel McCarthy, the co-director and co-founder of Run and Gun, says it's something to look forward to in a film industry that is often threatened by external forces.
It's really interesting because this announcement happened, but it doesn't affect Run and Gun at all, really. If anything, it gets people more energized for Canadian content. I think there's a lot of this, hoorah, let's do it.
McCarthy wants filmmakers to stay hopeful despite the threat from our southern neighbor. Caroline Doyle, BCIT News.
I have Caroline on the phone with more on the story. Hi, Caroline. What attracts filmmakers to this festival specifically?
Hi, Leah. Well, this is one where every short film is screened and not just the winners. It also allows for a lot of creative freedom. It doesn't limit artistic creativity, and it has some rules in place to keep people from creating the content ahead of time, but it's an honor-based system where they hope everyone follows the rules.
Super cool. And do you know in what way the tariffs from President U.S. Donald Trump will affect filmmakers?
At this point, we won't know until any final decisions have been made. Yeah?
Awesome. Thank you, Caroline. Staying political, BC has issued a second call for power to acquire up to 5,000 gigawatt hours per year of energy from clean and renewable projects. Premier David Eby says the move is a part of a larger plan that will help reduce dependence on power from the U.S.
The president of the U.S. has been active again, threatening Canadian sovereignty, casting shadows and doubts on the election of our Prime Minister Carney, threatening major industries, including our film industry, ludicrous suggestions all, and yet he continues.
Last year, the province issued a similar call for power, which the government says resulted in the approval of 10 new renewable energy projects capable of powering about 500,000 new homes. Continuing with local news, Tim Hortons is serving up a new set of breakfast boxes with a side of star power. The cafe chain has partnered with Deadpool star Ryan Reynolds on scrambled egg-based boxes. Food marketer Joanne MacArthur says it's a good pairing.
Ryan Reynolds, excellent choice. His personality or persona, I think, matches well with Tim Hortons. We know that breakfast has been the hardest hit for QSRs with hybrid working, so this makes sense to me to come up with a box that's a different portable option versus just a breakfast sandwich.
The Reynolds boxes contain 2 scrambled eggs, hash browns, chipotle sauce, and either bacon strips or sausage crumbles. Throughout the month of May, Jewish Heritage Month is celebrated in Canada. In Vancouver, the Jewish Community Centre is offering a series of events open for everyone to attend. Reporter Emma Bolsner has more on the importance of Jewish culture offers the community this month and all year round.
The Jewish Community Centre is highlighting Jewish heritage through cultural and informative events. The aim is to raise awareness on the lasting legacies the Jewish community has had in Vancouver. Hila Olian, the Senior Director of Programs at the Jewish Community Center, shares why it is important to celebrate Jewish culture throughout the year.
It's exciting for us to celebrate the Jewish culture all through the month of May, but I think it's also important to recognize that, our culture is built every day of every year. And so there's always a chance to come find out more about what being Jewish means in Canada.
Some of the events include dancing, food, and exhibits. Emma Bolsner, BCIT News.
Emma now joins us in the studio. Emma, can you elaborate on what kinds of events are the Jewish Community Center is offering?
For sure. They're offering lots of events trying to raise awareness on their community, such as Israeli dancing is taking place. You can learn how to make falafels, and the Vancouver Holocaust Society is actually offering at the Jewish Community Center a time for people to come together and learn about heritage food from Holocaust survivors and eat it and learn about their community.
Wow. How can non-Jewish Vancouverites support the community this month?
They can volunteer their time at the Jewish Community Center, they can donate, and just kind of take part in other festivities like the Giant Festival happening on May 25th at the Jewish Community Center.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma.
Of course.
In international news, the sex trafficking trial of hip-hop star Sean Diddy Combs has begun with jury selection in New York. Prospective jurors heard descriptions of the charges against Combs and were told that he has pleaded not guilty and is presumed innocent. Prosecutors say Combs coerced women into participating in sex acts with prostitutes during drug-fueled parties. They say he used violence and threats to keep his victims compliant and silent. Lawyers for Combs said the sex was consensual. Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges including racketeering, conspiracy, and bringing sex workers across state lines. The trial is expected to last at least 8 weeks. Staying in the U.S., President Trump took to social media over the weekend to say that he would like to reopen Alcatraz, a once maximum security prison that housed some of America's most notorious criminals. The prison, however, has been closed since the 1960s. Karen Travers from ABC News has more.
The new director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, who was just appointed by President Trump, said the agency will vigorously pursue all avenues to support and implement the president's agenda. William K. Marshall III said in a statement that Alcatraz has a, quote, rich history, adding, quote, we look forward to restoring this powerful symbol of law, order, and justice. Alcatraz closed in 1963 after nearly 30 years in operation, primarily due to high operating costs and the deteriorating condition of the facility. It's operated as a museum since 1973, with over 1 million visitors each year. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
A juvenile sperm whale was discovered stranded and later euthanized on a popular South Carolina resort island. Lisa Dwyer from the American Press has the story.
Officials say the 20-ton, 31-foot-long sperm whale came ashore near the Marriott Grand Ocean Resort on Hilton Head Island Saturday afternoon. The island's Sea Turtle Patrol and workers from the Georgia Aquarium's veterinary program kept towels and water on the whale as they waited for the special team to arrive, but it was determined that the juvenile whale was too emaciated to survive. Whales often beach themselves when sick or injured. Most beachings result in the animal's death. After an examination to determine why the whale became ill and beached itself, it will then be buried on the beach. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The Met Gala is today, and the theme this year is menswear. Specifically, the dress code will focus on Black dandyism, tailoring, and style. The starry guest list amounts to about 450 high-profile people from tech, sports, art, entertainment, and more. This is the first Met Gala to focus exclusively on Black designers and the first in more than 20 years to have a menswear theme. Among the hosts are Pharrell Williams, Lewis Hamilton, Coleman Domingo, and A$AP Rocky. LeBron James was made honorary chair but bowed out of attending due to a knee injury. Vogue's Anna Wintour, as always, is the gala's mastermind. The gala raises the bulk of the budget for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. And on Sunday, Vancouver hosted the BMO Marathon with a record turnout. A social media post says that more than 25,000 runners from more than 60 countries participated in the marathon, half marathon, 8-kilometer, and kids races. Now for weather. In Burnaby, we are expecting a sunny day with a high of 19 and a low of 7 overnight. A mix of sun and cloud should be expected throughout the week. I'm Leah Warren, and you're watching BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good afternoon, I'm Hayden Stewart, and this is your sports update at 2:45. The Dallas Stars and Winnipeg Jets are set to face off against each other in the second round of the NHL playoffs for the first time in history. Both teams made incredible comebacks in their respective Game 7 matchups in the first round. The Stars came back from a 2-0 deficit against the Colorado Avalanche in the third period, with former Colorado player Mikko Rantanen leading the way with a hat trick and an assist in the third period. The Winnipeg Jets were on the verge of elimination when Cole Perfetti scored the game-tying goal against the St. Louis Blues with just 3 seconds left in the game. The Jets would go on to win in double overtime with a tip-in goal from captain Adam Lowry. The first game of their series is Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. The Maple Leafs and Panthers will go toe-to-toe tonight in Game 1 of their second-round series. Florida head coach Paul Maurice was asked what changes he sees style-wise in Toronto with veteran bench boss now at the helm, Craig Berube.
Maybe in the past it was an attack mindset kind of offensively all the time, and now they're more patient. They'll put more pucks deep. They'll be more patient with the pucks out. So a bit more, I would say maybe more of a mature game.
Leaf star Mitch Marner will play tonight after he and his wife Stephanie welcomed the couple's first child over the weekend. A woman who prosecutors allege was sexually assaulted by 5 former members of Canada's World Junior Hockey Team is set to continue testifying at their trial today. The woman, who could not be identified under a publication ban, told the court last week that she felt drunk and not fully aware of her surroundings at the London, Ontario bar, where she first encountered some of the accused on June 18, 2018. Michael McLeod, Carter Hart, Alex Formanton, Dylan Dubé, and Callan Foote have all pleaded not guilty to sexual assault. McLeod has also pleaded not guilty to an additional charge of being a party to the offense of sexual assault. The charges relate to an encounter that took place at a hotel in downtown London later that night. In basketball, the second round of the NBA playoffs are already underway, with the Indiana Pacers who upset the Cleveland Cavaliers Sunday with a score of 121-112. Tyrese Halliburton led the way with 22 points and 13 assists. Game 2 of the series is Tuesday at 4 p.m. There is NBA playoff action tonight as the New York Knicks take on the Boston Celtics at 4 p.m. and the Denver Nuggets face the Oklahoma City Thunder at 6:30 this evening. In football, the 2027 NFL Draft is set to take place in the capital of America. In remarks, President Trump says holding the 2027 NFL Draft on the National Mall is exciting.
I don't think there's ever been anything like that. That's a good idea. In fact, maybe we could use it for other things also. I have an idea. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be something that nobody else will ever be able to duplicate that, I don't suspect.
Washington hosting the draft 2 years from now is the latest off-field victory for the Commanders, who a week ago reached an agreement with the D.C. government to build a stadium on the old RFK site. In baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays lost another close game against the Cleveland Guardians yesterday afternoon, losing 5-4. The Blue Jays are off to another slow start this season. With a record of just 16-18 and in 4th place in the American League East, they need their star players to start playing like stars. Along with the slow start, pitchers Max Scherzer and Eric Swanson have been moved to the 60-day injured list. Scherzer only pitched 3 innings for the team before re-injuring his thumb. To replace these pitchers, the Blue Jays have signed Spencer Turnbull and Jose Urena to 1-year deals. The Jays are in Los Angeles Tuesday when they start a 3-game series against the Angels. Aaron Judge is off to an incredible start this season. Through 34 games, he has a .423 batting average and an OPS of .1287. Many are asking the question if he can hit over 400 for the entire season. The last player to have an average of 400 in a season was Ted Williams in 1941, when his batting average was .406. Although, Williams only struck out 27 times in the whole season, while Judge has already struck out 31 times this season. In soccer, Inter Milan and Barcelona are tied 3-3 in their Champions League semi-final matchup. The second and final game is set to be played tomorrow at 12 p.m. in Milan, Italy. Paris Saint-Germain holds a 1-goal advantage over Arsenal in their semi-final matchup. The second and final game of their series is Wednesday at 12 p.m. in Paris, France. That has been your sports update at 2:45. I'm Hayden Stewart, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.